Now, the Uganda Police Force has denied abducting two Kenyan activists, Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo, who were picked up by four armed men at a petrol station in Kireka, Kampala, in Uganda. In a media briefing addressed by Uganda Police spokesperson Kituma Rusoke, Ugandan authorities say the two are not in their custody and that they are yet to get formal reports of missing persons. Meanwhile, a group of Ugandan lawyers have filed an application before the High Court Civil Division in Kampala seeking to compel the military, the police, the Attorney General to produce the two missing Kenyans.
All right, let's first hear from Rushoke. This is the police spokesperson, Uganda Police. Let's first hear from him, and then we get started with the JB Muwonge Talk Show, another episode of the two Kenyan brothers that were abducted here in Uganda. That is last Wednesday. And of course, police is denying having them. However much each and every evidence tells a different story. First hear from the spokesperson.
The Kenyans who are alleged to have come to join in Kenyan activists who came to join in Elare in Uganda, and it is alleged that they disappeared.
They did not disappear; they were abducted.
I am not briefed by police that they have them in our custody. So at the moment, I don't have any information.
Of course, now, let us even be serious with this, because did you expect Uganda Police to come out and say, yes, we abducted them, we have them in our custody and all that kind of thing? No, because they know what they are doing is wrong. It is only the CDF, that is Museveni's son, Muhoz, who can come out and say, I have Edward Disebuf in my basement and I'm doing this to him. What are you going to do to me? So anyway, this is another update, just like I promised you yesterday, that in case of any other update, I'll come and we continue with this conversation of Bobi Njagi, that is the chairman of the Free Kenyan Movement, as well as Nicholas Oyoo, the Secretary General, who were abducted last week on Wednesday at a petrol station in Kireka, that's Uganda, and up to date, they are still held in Communicado. No one has actually access to them ever since they were abducted. The survivor came out and narrated how it all went, and of course actually he's a witness of today's application that has been filed at the High Court in Uganda. So before we go deeper into today's JB Muwonge Talk Show about this issue, let us first get these details, then outulyoka tutambule bulungi otegere kigenda kitanayenga. Of course I'm going to bring more of similar incidents and how police has been responding. Then you'll get to connect the dots and be serious on this issue. To our comrades in Kenya, you better be serious. You better be serious with this issue. Comrades being abducted by Ugandan security forces, that is a serious issue. Actually, for us, we've had comrades who have been abducted and we've not seen them again. So if you want to see Bobi Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo alive and kicking, you have to act as soon as yesterday. Anyway, I'll give you those stories and you'll hear for yourself. But let's first get into this.
I'd like to begin our bulletin with the growing mystery surrounding the disappearance of two Kenyan activists, Bobi Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo, whom Ugandan police now deny holding in their custody 6 days after they were reportedly abducted by armed men in security uniform in Kampala. Uganda Police spokesperson Kituma Rusoke says there is no formal reports of the abduction and that the two are not being pursued for any offense. In the meantime, two Ugandan lawyers have filed a habeas corpus application at the Kampala High Court seeking to compel authorities to produce the missing activist. And as Gatete Njoroge now reports, family members and human rights activists met with Foreign Affairs Principal Secretary Korir Sing'oei in a bid to seek answers over their whereabouts.
All right, I'm sure now you get it clear that an habeas corpus has been filed at the High Court in Uganda seeking the security forces to release these comrades, dead or alive. Of course, that's what the habeas corpus demands, to produce them in court, dead or alive. And that's good news, because at least since they were abducted, that was Wednesday last week, all we saw was the Kenyan embassy back here in Uganda acknowledging receiving reports and of course writing to the foreign affairs minister about the same issue. Nenga tubade tunaba kulirayo nnyo a serious intervention from both countries, like the silence has been too much. It's only the civil rights organizations that have been coming out, actually only those from Kenya. Yet we have an obligation as Ugandans that an attack on one of us in this region is an attack. Anyway, let's continue this.
6 days after their broad daylight abduction in Kampala, Uganda, authorities have finally broken their silence, sparking renewed concern over the rise of cross-border abductions in the East African region.
Good morning, our viewers.
Uganda Police spokesperson Kituma Rusoke, while addressing the media, defended the police, maintaining that the two missing individuals are not in their custody.
Of course, just like I told you, police can't come out and say that yes, we abducted them, we have them in our custody. That will never happen, and they'll never say that however much they have them. They do have them, because that has been their rhetoric every abduction. Like it was the same case during the abduction of Edward Sebufu, that is the chief of security for that is His Excellency Bobi Wine. When he was abducted, the police came out and said, no, we don't have him, blah 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 blah, and that kind of a thing. But after pressure mounted, then they released him.
Have any information to the effect that they are in police custody? Nor do I have any information that they are accused by police. If I had it, I would volunteer it here without any reservations.
Rusoke says that the alleged abduction has not been formally recorded, saying police have no official reports or documentation of the two individuals' disappearance.
I also don't know whether it has been reported formally that they are lost persons or missing persons.
As police maintained their denial of the alleged kidnapping at the High Court's Civil Division in Kampala, two lawyers accompanied by human rights activists filed a habeas corpus application seeking to compel Ugandan authorities to produce and release the two missing individuals. In the application, where Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo are named as applicants, they want Chief of Defense Forces, Chief of Defense Intelligence and Security, Inspector General of Police and the Attorney General of Uganda to be compelled to produce the two activists in court. They also allege that the two are being held at an intelligence facility in Mbuya.
We believe that the reason as why these people were abducted and kidnapped is because they had come to show solidarity with one of the presidential candidates who is in the opposition, Robert Kyagulanyi, and you know the dictator and the Museveni's government are fearful of people that come with that kind of solidarity, the togetherness.
We believe that this is a trend that we cannot sit and just watch. East African leaders have gone.
It's the same thing happening in Tanzania to all opposition figures that side. The same thing now happening in Uganda. It is now happening to Kenyans. It is something that we have to. We don't need to sit down and just look on. We have got to act. We have got to put an end to this madness. I salute you, brother.
Now, I had to threaten our existence.
In Nairobi, the families of the two missing Kenyans, accompanied by human rights activists, called out both governments, describing the recent wave of cross-border abductions as a systematic attack on civilians that undermines the fundamental principles of the East African community.
We call upon the government of Uganda to disclose their whereabouts and release them without delay. We call upon the government of Kenya to assert its diplomatic responsibility and secure their release.
That despite public outrage and ongoing diplomatic engagement, the two remain held incommunicado, a blatant violation of Ugandan, East African, and international human rights law.
Later, the group met with Foreign Affairs Principal Secretary Korir Sing'oei, who assured them that the government is actively pursuing efforts to secure the release of the two missing Kenyans.
Back in Nairobi, families and human rights groups are demanding the activists' safety and well-being, condemning the incident as a blatant violation of human rights.
Beyond national law, the abduction and suspected enforced disappearance of Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo violates several international and regional legal frameworks.
Of course, it is not acceptable anyway,
Binding both Uganda and Kenya.
We are reminding them that they have a responsibility as a government to ensure the safety and security of every person within their jurisdiction.
They have raised alarm over what they term a wave of cross-border repression.
Now, let me even first divert you from this and alert you. This is actually like a warning, because I believe comrades in Kenya are taking this lightly. Please don't do. Because just like I told you earlier on, back here in Uganda, we've had similar incidents, and guess what? The victims have never resurfaced. Let me show you an example. You see the gentleman on your screen?
Basebo ne banyabo nange nvuddeyo olwaleero okwogera ku nsonga enkulu ezigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga lyaffe Uganda. Mukimanyi bulungi nti abamu ku babaka baffe nga Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu.
Now, that gentleman goes by the name John Bosco Chibalama. He recorded that video way back in 2019 during the People Power movement, the early stages of the People Power movement. By the time he wanted to contest as an MP against the incumbent, then was from the ruling NRM. But what happened? He was abducted on the 3rd of June, just like the way Comrade Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo were abducted. Similar fashion, cars with, guns, wearing guns, some in police uniform, some in casual uniform. They grabbed him, disappeared him. Since then, we've never seen him again. We've never seen him again. Of course, comrades, lawyers, friends have done their best to secure his release, to secure his unconditional release. But guess what? Since 2019 up to date, no one has ever seen him again. He is not alone. There are more than 20. More than 20. So that's why I'm like, don't take this issue of Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo lightly. Act as soon as possible. Muyinza obutaddamu mulabako. That's the fact. Tuyinza okumufiirwa. Tuyinza obafiirwa bana ababiri. For the case of that is Edward Sebufa, the chief of security for His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, but the gentleman you see on the screen, that is Eddie Mutwe. He leads the security team of Bobi Wine. He was abducted, disappeared, and guess what? Police came out in a similar fashion like it has come out for the case of Nicholas Oyoo and Bob Njagi. They denied having Edward Sebufu. They denied having Achille Chivumbi, the gentleman you see in the middle there. They denied having countless comrades that are rotting in jail as we speak. Because in most cases, our comrades are simply abducted, disappeared for months, for weeks, for days, and then they show up in court. So, police came out, denied having Edward Sebufu, denied having abducted him, but guess what? They had him. Actually, the chief of defense forces, that is Museveni's son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, after pressure mounted, of course, from various stakeholders, he came out and confirmed, I have him in my basement. I'm sure you follow Muhoozi. He confirmed. He took him pictures naked beards cut off, his hair cut off. He bragged, "What are you going to do to me?" So that's Uganda for you, under Museveni. That's why I'm like, don't take this issue of Nicholas Oyoo and the Bobi Wine lightly. Byonna byonna bye mukola mubikolenga, because just like the on-screen title I put for you, that Uganda Police denies having these two comrades, but evidence completely tells a different story. You've all heard it from the witness. You know, let me actually take you back to this story.
Uganda, after surviving an attempted abduction in the neighboring country. His colleagues, Bobi Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo, were not as fortunate. He recounts what happened in Uganda.
Before we went to Kampala, we went through Jinja. We slept in Jinja for 2 days.
You've heard the story from Kofi Atenda. He was with the Bobi Njagi and the comrade Nicholas Oyoo. He managed to escape and is back in Kenya. He narrated each and everything, how it unfolded. He was with them. So this business of police coming out is like they disappeared, we don't have them, we've not heard anything about it. They are just playing with the lives of these two, and we shouldn't allow that.
And then from there we were actually invited for a private meeting with Bobi Wine. So the day we were to meet him is when Bobi Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo, for the Free Kenya Movement Secretary General, that's when we lost them.
According to Atenda, the abductors wore distinctive uniform, were masked to conceal identity, and appeared to be police or other national security officials. They struck soon after they had taken lunch.
A vehicle came, a van that had...
A vehicle came, a van, of course, drones.
Men who were in uniform.
Men were in uniform.
And others were not in uniform.
And others were not in uniform. And that's how they operate. Like, that's how they abduct these other comrades that affiliate with National Unity Platform, that are friends of His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert. Actually, the entire security team of Bobi Wine, it was abducted. And after pressure mounted, they all showed up in court. But they were abducted in a similar fashion.
Others were armed, and there was a woman, one, and then they took Bob and also SG and I myself.
His escape, he says, was made possible by a car he had left unlocked after lunch.
They had left me first of all, and then there's a lady who was just pointing at me, and then even that one. So a man came and then grabbed my bag and then pushed me to the car.
The families of Bobi Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo are expected to release a statement on Monday.
All right. To give you more about, actually, let's get back to Edwin Mutwe, the security guard of His Excellency Bobi Wine. After the pressure that we put demanding for his release, of course, where he was held, he was tortured. He was done all manner of inhuman acts. Like, actually, this is how he was released. Look at this video. They didn't even want anyone to see him because he was in a very terrible shape. He couldn't walk by himself. They actually had to support him to walk. And guess what? They were supporting him to walk to court, to be slapped fake charges. And as we speak now, he's still in prison. So yeah, there he is. And there he is. They could chase news reporters, journalists, and all that kind of thing. They did not want anyone to capture anything. So, to whoever is raising voices calling for the release of Bobi Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo, please multiply those efforts, triple those efforts. Then baganda bange abawangalira wano mu Uganda twebereremu. An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. Tetukiriza kunomalizinga bintu bino. Banji baganda bafe bali e Kenya. Tetubikiriza banange tubigane. Era nawe obeera nga oli eyo nga tonaba ku making sure nti n'eddoboozi lyongera video eno gisharinga ennyo. Share this video to your other comrades. They get to know what is happening. Tetubikiriza tubigane. Yeah, ana Kenya obusungu bwo banyina buyitirivu nnyo. Obusungu babuyina bungi nnyo. Buyitirivu. Naye ndowooza bayinza okuba tebana bakola kimala. Mwena mumanyi ebitutuukako nga baganda baffe bawambiddwa. John Bosco Kibalama tetuddangamu mulabako. Akirewo Kivumbi yasooka kuwambibwa n'abuzibwawo. Bobi Yanga similar fashion. Mugumya Gaddafi similar fashion. Yasini Machete similar fashion. Umar Kato similar fashion, and very many others. What has not shocked me is police coming out to say they don't have them. That doesn't shock me personally, because I didn't expect police to come out and say we have them. However much the court has condemned abductions, even the law doesn't like it, prohibits it, but they practice it in broad daylight. They come out, deny it, then later on the victim shows up in court, and they're like, okay, how, they took connect, someone is abducted, police comes out to say they don't have him, then later on he shows up in court with a police bond, and they're like, okay, so the police was lying to us. Pira fe twabamanyira nyenge n'ensonga ya makulu nnyo, especially kufa Abannayuganda baagala enkyukakyuka. Region yesaanawo. Waliwo Abannayuganda batera okukozesa Kenya nga bavudde South Africa, bavudde Juba, bavudde Italy, bavudde America, ne bagamba nti katuyitireke Kenya twesoge Uganda, katuyitireke eggulu Juba twesoge Uganda. Mulaba ekigenda maaso e Kenya. Awo Kenya bateri safe. Mujukire Tanzania teri safe, Rwanda eri safe, Congo eri safe. Niolowooza ebizibu byonna biva ku ki? Biva ku muntu ogwo Museveni ya infectinga his style of leadership mu bakulembeze bonna ba East Africa. Style yagisiga ono mukazi we Suluhu we Tanzania, yagisiga Ruto, yagisiga Salva Kiir, yagisiga Tshisekedi, bakwatagana bulungi ne Kagame. Olabira ddala ali omu ate abazungu sigo bakozesa okuyisaawo ebyabwe, awo ne gujja bagira anti yabasindika abasirikale Congo, yabasindika Sudan, yabasindika Somalia, nga tewali yadde approval ya parliament. So that leadership style, that autocratic leadership style, it is eating up other leaders in the region. Muntu ali omu. Actually, Abannayuganda ffe tulina omulimu omunene ennyo ogw'okubeera nti bano abasajja, ono musajja, ono musajja tumukola ki? Tumutwala entyagi. tuba tetutaasiza Uganda yokka wabula tuba tutaasiza region yonna. Alright guys, I'll still come back here, explain to you any update about this issue. All I can say, please, the silence is too loud, especially from activists across the entire region. These are comrades fighting for equal rights and justice. They need your voice. Please don't keep quiet about this. And never underestimate your voice. Never and never underestimate your voice. I liked a message from this comrade. Yeah, I liked a message from this comrade.
You've never spoken about this. You're being paid a salary. What are you doing at the East African Legislative Assembly? Our message is to the leaders. Kenyans are being abducted left, right, and center. And you have normalized this.
Which kind of president are you? You dictator.
Hey! All right, guys. I think let's link up tomorrow. If there is any other update, I'll still come back. Same studios, same voice, same show. That's the JB Monk Talk Show. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do, and don't forget to turn on the notification alert so that you don't miss out on any update about this story and the very many more stories that are about, of course, changing lives. Anyway, peace and love. Till next time.